Should assisted suicide be legal? Assisted suicide should be legal. This belief is based on the fact that physician-assisted suicide is only legal in 4 places in the world. There are many qualifications needed to be accepted for physician-assisted suicide, so it's not as easy as it seems. There are only 4 places in the world where assisted suicide is legal: the Netherlands, Switzerland, Oregon, and Washington. In order to qualify in Oregon, you must be diagnosed with a terminal illness and be given 6 months or less to live. So that means someone that's confined to a wheelchair would not qualify. This is not something that can happen overnight or in the blink of an eye. It takes time. If people do not bat an eye when an animal is euthanized, why wouldn't they do the same for a human? I've been researching this subject for a couple of months now, just because I've witnessed several of my family members lay in nursing homes and just starve themselves as a way to end their life. I believe assisted suicide should be legal. When it comes to suicide, people do not really know what's going on in someone's mind or what's going on in their life, their final hours. Maybe they were struggling to overcome something. Maybe they were battling demons that nobody knew that they had. Little tasks for you and I may be different to someone else. A hill to us may be a mountain to someone else. People think others kill themselves because they're depressed, but that's not always the case. I believe it should be legal because someone who has lost their other half or their spouse should not be told to carry on for anyone else. That's selfish. I believe assisted suicide is much better than regular suicide. It allows the family to see their loved one one last time instead of sending them to the crematorium because you can't recognize them because of the trauma. I believe if someone wants to die, whether they're sick or not, they should have the right to. In 2010, I lost my grandmother to suicide. We had to have her cremated because you couldn't really tell that it was her. So I never really got the closure from her death. When I was younger, I never really understood why she did what she did. Through my teenage years, I felt a sense of hatred. But that was selfish. Now, being an adult who's going through some of the same things, I understand. Physician-assisted suicide should be legal in all 50 states, but it should be regulated. If you want to kill yourself, I believe that you should be able to. But there needs to be forms that you should sign stating that you're in your right mind and this was your decision and you're not doing it for anybody else. After this form is signed, only you can make changes to it and decide against it if you would like to. One of the things that I would change about physician-assisted suicide is the fact that you must be terminally ill. I feel like if anybody, wants to kill themselves, this would be the better way compared to other forms of suicide, whether it's hanged, a gunshot or slitting your wrists. I believe it's better this way to receive closure. That way, you get the closure that you need, knowing that your family member's gone. It's a clean alternative to other simple suicides. I believe it should not be frowned upon if someone wants to kill themselves. Mental illness is a real thing, and I don't believe anybody should be frowned upon or called crazy just for, being depressed or having suicidal thoughts or any kind of suicidal anything. Many times after someone's passed due to suicide, many people give you this, well, they didn't have any warning signs. Mental illness isn't always going to give you a warning sign. It's not a flashing sign that says, hey, I'm depressed, or hey, I'm having suicidal thoughts. But it's a real thing. And it affects a bunch of people every day. I feel like physician-assisted suicide would help families feel the closure needed after their loved one has killed themselves. Mental illness is a real thing, like I said before. I believe it should be socially acceptable to talk about. Just keep this question in mind. Would you want to talk about your mental illness with someone like yourself? Have you ever had a friend say, hey, I've been feeling kind of depressed, and they tell you what's going on? Have you ever just thought to yourself for just a second and just been like, they're crazy. They're going to harm themselves. They're going to, they're probably going to go home and kill themselves. Just keep this question in mind. Would you put your trust in someone like yourself when it comes to mental illnesses? I believe physician-assisted suicide should be legal.